here I show you that what needs to be done. So if I click the metal deck, you see that? Right click and you see the section property. We're using 3G metal deck and 2.25 inch live concrete slab. This section
Uh,
property for metal deck slab, uh, yes.
Professor, so going back to the deck section properties, so was everything else correct? Because we grabbed
Oh,
all
yeah.
of that information from the Volcraft manual.
Oh, okay. I think typically you should grab either bulk wrap or whatever, just United Metal Deck brochure. You could just update it, right? So this rib width, I think is 6 inches. Let me just check.
Because we chose a specific deck, but I can
Yeah.
go through and look at the Volcraft again since we changed the weight of the
Mhm.
concrete. So that might have a that might change the rest of the properties.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think good to because this is in one parameter or factor, but I think you it depends on this rib width and spacing. The slab weight calculation might be different. Should be different because equivalent concrete section areas, right? So I think that good point since we ETAPS calculates cross section area based on those profile. I think good to just update it based
Okay.
on the your metal deck you gonna use. So Bullcrap manual and United Deck manual has a good input, so you could use it. I think it taps. I'm not sure the most up to date uh, uh, I would like to check it because this is 2013, so they still don't set those metal deck profile in the database, right? So this not like the steel section. Still, we have a database here, so we can bring in all the steel sections from AISC section, but the metal deck we don't have any steel database or the member database. So manually we have to define. But I think maybe who maybe give them a comment as CSI industry software company, they may can kind of add those feature. So so I think the slab Metadex slab is done, assigned, spanning direction is correct. Okay, now
Sorry, another question
let's
for you.
touch on yes,
No, so for the corridor walkways,
yeah.
so that's also going to be 4,000 psi lightweight concrete, right?
Okay, there is another likely slab elements is because now they are not. I think this is something you need to understand a background. Not always case, but this case, right? Our slab is not a secondary elements, not even the natural system, right?
Mhm. Yes.
So it's only we treat as gravity flow framing. So we don't need a high strength concrete. So since we're using 4,000 concrete for metal deck, I think it's 4,000 for this 1 inch slab makes sense. So let's move on to move into the core. So that case, let's open that slab property, not metal deck properties. I think you guys currently let me just trim it. This one was assigned as a metal deck, so we're gonna change to uh, 1 inch slab, but that slab sections, right? We have a two different type, but slab one, let me just open it. Slab one defaults at 8 inches, slab, thin shell, and 4,000. So this is normal way concrete, right? So let's say 8 inches slab. So typically, if you if I don't use lightweight concrete, I'll just keep it on, down the normal weight concrete. So 8 inches slab. Shell elements. I think this we could change the membrane elements because shell versus membrane. I maybe can explain one more time a little bit, but membrane has some um, only has a in-plane stiffness versus shell has a in-plane and out-of-plane stiffness. Our case, we just simplify our slab only for load distribution purpose. So I'm gonna use membrane elements. I think I'm gonna maybe explain a little bit later. For now, I'll choose membrane, and I'm gonna assign that shell and select. I select those corridor slab, and I'm gonna assign 8 inches slab. So you see the 8 inches slab.
So, and then also for those slabs, will the load assignments also be the same as the metal deck, or will they be different now?
Oh, okay, good question. Because we too much simplify that loading, but typically Office is 70 PSF. I explained that live load is 50 is by the billing code, but additional movable partition load allowance 20. So 70 PSF is pretty common, but you never know that Office could be on headquarter office, or each floor could be leased per, right, based on the company. So company has their own different uses. So just thinking about the building as communities, each floor has a different company. They have their own um, uses. So some company they usually store heavy documents, or sometimes some the material architectural material. Then they need a more heavy live load. So so it varies, but I think at this point, so again, outside the corridor, outside the core, we just treat generally uh, your project, you just assign 100 PSF, which is okay. But not like office space, those corridor is more public space, right? So typically, this corridor live roads, I think, require heavy live roads, typically 100 PSF for the this corridor live road at the ground floor because it has a more heavy traffic. But second floor above this corridor live road could be lowered down to 80 PSF. So I think for now, make a simple. I think those 100 PSF was already assigned, which is okay. But you just keep in mind that depends on users. If this corridor has a more, I think either 80 or 100 PSF live load. Just
Okay.
also just expecting when you just go into the any high-rise building, you see that very luxurious high-end finishes, right? Floor finishes, wall finishes. Those are relatively heavier than just carpet floor finish, right? So this typically lobby area, we are expecting a little bit high superimposed dead load to cover those floor finish. So now, okay, slab we assign. We assign it as, wait a minute. Oh, 8 inches. For I think this is usually 6 inches. It works. Depends on span, but I think I'm gonna just change to 6 inches instead of 8 inches.
Okay.
So now core. Okay. So go back to here. this is general constructions. So since we have opening, I explain a little bit. So against we have a three. Uh, it could be four, depends on obviously. But for now, this is three. Typically, slightly less than 10 feet wide. So it's about what? Let's simplify. 10 feet by 10 feet square opening. And this opening, I explained that we need the beams, concrete
Yes.
beams.
Mm-hmm.
Now, practically, those is not part of any structural system, but this elevator bank requires some secondary steel members. We call DB is divider beams. Made out typically we use a steel HSS beams.